Good afternoon. What a crowd. Our very special guest is amazed by the number of people and setting records for the number of people in this room. Give yourself a round of applause. It's a privilege to serve as your 2019 president of the National Association of Realtors. And I want to thank you again for being here at the Realtors Legislative Meetings and Trade Expo. I'm so proud of the thousands of realtors here this week who traveled to our nation's capital to share our story with legislators and policymakers about the many ways realtors could help build vibrant communities that are accessible to all. Our realtor narrative is dynamic, encompassing the stories of our 1.3 million members and over 100 million property owners nationwide. As realtors, we're committed to protecting private property rights and home ownership because that's who we are. We've had an incredibly successful week. Our realtor voice has been heard on Capitol Hill, and today our story reaches the Oval Office. I can think of no better way to wrap up our time in Washington, D.C. than by sharing our realtor story with our nation's chief executive. A long-time real estate developer, President Donald Trump, knows how real estate drives economy growth, creates jobs, and benefits the country as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge, warm welcome to the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that life to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and remember still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Well, thank you very much. I feel like home. Realtors. Great business. We love that business. I love that business. Every time I go down in this incredible beast. You know what the beast is? The world's most expensive car. It's really not a car. It's an army tank that rides better. But it's something. But I look at the real estate. I'm always looking at the real estate. I don't know. I'll never get it out of my blood. It's in our blood, right? Please sit down. Sit down if you want. Sit down. You know, I tell you to sit down because otherwise they'll say he got no standing ovations. It's the fake news. They'll say
The crowd didn't like his performance. They gave him no. I had that the other day. They just wouldn't sit down. So they said it wasn't one of his better speeches. He got no standing ovations because they never sat down. It was one. But we love you people, and I know they were just telling me, John, that it's a record. They have people here. They have people in all the ballrooms all over this beautiful hotel. And there are people outside, closed circuit. Somehow you people know real estate, so you know you have the best location, right? But I'm honored to be here with the hardworking men and women who help millions of families live the American dream. And that's so true. The incredible members of the National Association of Realtors, a name I know very well. I want to thank my friend. He was my friend, my competitor for a while, but he was still my friend. Secretary Ben Carson for his tremendous leadership. Stand up. No, he's a great guy. When I put him in charge of HUD, first of all, he's a very smart guy, very adaptable. I said, Ben, what do you know about real estate? Not much. How would you like to head HUD? And you know what? Didn't take you long, did it, Ben? And he got some of the smartest people in the business, and they're doing a great job. And everybody's talking about it. Thank you, Ben. Great job. And I also want to thank the president of the National Association of Realtors, John Smaby. Where is he? Where is he? Hi, John. Please stand up. Thank you, John. Great job. Thank you, John. Popular. Where's CEO Bob Goldberg? Bob, thank you, Bob. Respected guys. Vice President Tracy Casper. Vice President, I just met Tracy. Great family. And your entire team for everything that you do to support realtors around the country. I guess that includes me. I took a little sabbatical for 8 years. You know, but I miss you. But we get you one hell of a tax cut, didn't we? Did we do? And the regulation cut may be more important. You know, we did regulation cutting where you couldn't build jobs, you couldn't build anything. You'd have a puddle on your land, and they considered it to be one of the Great Lakes of the world. Sure, you'd have a puddle. And if it formed more than twice a year, a puddle. We used to call it a puddle. They called it a lake. It came in lake restriction. I actually had it happen to me. In Bedford, New York, I was building a development. I was going to build some really luxury, beautiful houses, very great area. And it kept, that's right, New York, New York. I'll tell you, they might be screwing up New York. We got to be careful, right? The taxes are going high. They're doing a mansion tax now. You know what that is, right? They want to be your partner. That's not good. The mansion tax, I just heard about that one. But, you know, the environmental stuff was very tough. It was getting worse and worse every year. And I actually had this beautiful piece of land, 216 acres. And I was going to do something with it. And then I decided to do this. I'm glad I did this because I can help more people. But, Tracy, they had a little area where water would sort of form when it rained. And all of a sudden I found out that I can't build on the land. Does that make sense to you? I can't build on the land because it was considered for all intents and purposes a lake. And how did people find out about the lake? My consultant told them, because this way you have to use your environmental consultant longer, pay him more money to get you out of the jam. Isn't that nice? I fired his ass so fast. True story. It's a true story. True story. I'd see them up in Albany. What are you doing here? And they were making it more and more difficult, so you had to hire a lot of people. But that's what we're getting rid of. We're getting rid of a lot of the regulations. And frankly, I've had some great business leaders talking to me. And if they had their choice between, we have the biggest tax cut bill in the history of our country, and we also, in that bill, got included Anwar, one of the great oil sites in all of the world, in Alaska. And we got rid of the individual mandate, which is by far the biggest problem with Obamacare, the individual mandate, where you paid a lot of money for the privilege not to pay a lot of money for health care. How about that one? This is the only thing. You paid not to have it. You paid a fortune not to have it, and we got rid of it. So, but we are doing regulations, and I think regulations, frankly, maybe are a bigger reason for our tremendous success as a country over the last 2.5 years, maybe even bigger than the tax cuts. I mean, it's incredible what's happening. I just left Louisiana, and we're building, oh, wow. Well, then you know what I'm talking about, building a tremendous LNG terminal, LNG refiner. It's $10 billion, one of the biggest in the world. It must be a mile long. I've never seen anything like this. It's a building, but it's all pipes inside, all pipes. There's no space. There's all pipes. They didn't use any space, Ben. And I've never seen it. It's incredible. $10 billion, 10,000 jobs. Louisiana, now they're going to do more of them. And if you look over the last 40 years, I don't think we built a refinery, or certainly we built very few of them. And now we have a lot of refineries going up in great locations, and it's really incredible. Nobody thought they'd ever see a refinery built, but we worked with the EPA, and we worked with people that were really stopping them. These people were in the process of getting permits for many, many years, and we helped them, and we got them very, very quickly, and they've invested tremendous amounts of money, and it's sold out. It's sold out. For 20 years, it's all sold out. See, that's no different than an office building. You sign a lease, and you get your financing, right? These people, they sign with countries, and they get their financing. But I think it's bigger and probably even better, if you want to know the truth. And they're happy, and it's a lot of people that are working, and we did that, but we did many of them. We did the pipeline, as you know, the big pipelines, the Keystone XL pipeline. We did right? That was dead. 48,000 jobs, and the Dakota Access Pipeline. And these are tremendous things, and frankly, environmentally great, better than tracking it down, better than putting it in trains, better than doing any other way. And it goes to the various parts of the country that need it. They're fantastic. These are things that would never have happened if other people got into office. I could almost say if almost anybody else in the world got into office, I don't think it would have happened, including Republicans. But before I begin, I'm pleased to announce that we've just reached an agreement with Canada and Mexico, and we'll be selling our product into those countries without the imposition of tariffs or major tariffs. Big difference. As you know, Canada has been for years, and we have a great relationship with Canada and the Prime Minister. We have a great relationship, but they've been charging us extremely high tariffs, as much as 285% or more for our agricultural products, which is an absolute barrier. It's essentially a barrier. In other words, when you pay 285, guess what? You know what they're saying? We don't want your business. So it was a barrier to our farmers being able to do business with them, to our farmers being able to sell product in there. So that deal is going to be a fantastic deal for our country. And hopefully Congress will approve the USMCA quickly. And then the great farmers and manufacturers and steel plants will make our economy even more successful than it already is, if that's possible, which it is possible. We could have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We could have, you look at the unemployment numbers, the best since 1969. And in a very short period, it'll be, assuming we just go a little bit further, it'll be the best in history. The unemployment numbers are great, but the employment numbers are even better. We have the most people working today than at any time in the history of our country. We have almost 160 million people working. And many of those people are going to go out and buy a house, right, Tracy? They're going to use you as the broker. They're going to call Tracy, I want to buy a house. And I won't pay you 6%, Tracy. I won't. I'll pay you 1%. I was famous for that. No. Don't worry. Nobody accepted it. Don't feel. But I tried like hell, I'll tell you. No, but I'd get it down to 4 or 5. That's not so bad. I had one case in Palm Beach. Believe it or not, $100 million house. Can you believe it? And the broker did a fantastic job. And I told the broker, I'm paying you more than you're supposed to get. You got millions. Sold the house for $100 million. You believe it? Bought it for 39. Then I sold it for 100. It wasn't immediate. Took a couple of years. That's okay. I had to paint it inside a little bit, little paint, little fix up, little fix up. I call it a turnaround because I had nothing to, I had a beautiful house, Mar-a-Lago, and I said this was one that came onto the market through really a tragedy, a very sad situation with the owner had a tremendous problem. And so anyway, it was put up and I got it and I sold it. I flipped it, but I had a great broker, 2 good brokers actually, but I paid them more money than they actually asked for. I made a deal with them and I paid them more. And I've done that a lot. I've also done it the other way where I'm not so happy. Then I do a little, but I won't talk about that today. We'll save that for another time. But really, there's nothing like a good broker. I mean, you're no different than a great surgeon, a great anything. I mean, it's true. It's true. And you're not all brokers. You're realtors and you build and you rent and you lease, but you sell. And honestly, I've seen cases where you give it to the wrong person and you just sit and you just die with it. And then the right person comes along and it's like genius. It's like genius. And you have to remember those people. Those are great people. And you have to reward them properly. I really mean it. You have to reward them properly. So you are really, truly, fantastically talented people. There are some probably in this room that don't have such great talent. You know who I am and you know who they are. But you have some tremendously talented people in this room. I know this business so well. I love this business. And you have people that can really do a job that very few people can do. And frankly, if you went into another business, you'd do great with that too. But there's something about the real estate world that's it's incredible. You just love it. It's in your blood. It's in your blood. So even as president, and that's why I tell you, even as president, I ride down those streets and I say, wow, is that place nice? Wow, what could you do with that? Look at that site. And then I said, wait a minute, I have to deal with China. Forget about this stuff. So I love your business, and we're here today because realtors play a special role in the American economy, and that's true. I would think it's the largest business in this country when you add it all up. You add up all the family firms and the big real estate firms and the single family home builders and the ones that do a lot of homes. I mean, thousands and thousands, but you add it all up and it's the biggest business. There's nothing close. It's bigger than oil and gas, which is big. It's bigger than cars, bigger than anything. As a group, you're a tremendously big business and a very powerful business politically because you have numbers. Numbers is power. When a young family needs room to grow, when a new job sparks a new adventure in a brand new, beautiful city, when parents want to find the right neighborhood and schools for their children, Americans put our trust in you, our great realtors, and that's true. Very important. I mean, I'll just tell you one little thing. In what business do you have where you're selling your home, your home's very important to you, you may not sell it, maybe you'll only sell it if you get the right price, and you leave the key under the mat so the broker can take anybody they want even though you're going to be away for 3 weeks, right? How many people trust people? You would only trust a great realtor to do that, right? Sure. A lot of truth to that. See, I have a speech, and I have great speechwriters, but they don't know this kind of stuff. So this is all, so far, this is all off cuff. But they don't know what I know, and they don't know what you know, because they write speeches, and our economy is great. But you've heard that before, right? But they don't know these kind of little things, right? And those are the little things that make you great. Home is where our hearts are. And all of you as Americans, you find a home for the ones that you love the most. So today I want to thank all of you. This is a time of extraordinary opportunity for our country. And as I said, I think our country is doing better now than we've ever done before as an economy. And I think it's going to get even better. We're the envy of the world. There's only truly never been a better time, in my opinion, to build and break ground in America. People are making a lot of money and they're doing well and jobs are so good and so many positive things are happening. We've added nearly 6 million jobs since my election, including more than 120,000 real estate jobs. You believe that? See, I view that as a negative. I say 120,000 more people that we have to compete with, right? What do we need that for? We've also gained more than 650,000 new construction jobs. And you know, and if you remember when I first came here, and if you remember 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it wasn't so good. But right now, America really is once again a nation of builders. We're building again. More than 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps, and we're getting Americans off of welfare and back into the workforce. That's a great thing. Great thing. That's a great thing. I mean, you think of that, 5 million people off of food stamps. You know what that costs? First of all, it's a tragedy. But you know what that costs? So they're off and now they're working. So they're actually paying taxes instead of really it's costing a lot of money. Food stamps are very expensive. And very importantly, women filled more than 60% of all of the new jobs created over the past year. 60. So I think the men should sue the women for discrimination. Okay. They should sue. Get a great lawyer. And after years of stagnation, wages are rising fast with the quickest growth for blue-collar workers. The best statistic of all, and people don't know, everyone's doing great. The rich are doing great. The not-so-rich are doing great. The middle income is doing the best. But the best of all, the blue-collar worker has the biggest percentage increase of anybody. And that's beautiful. And these things didn't just happen by accident. They happened because we are taking out this power out of Washington, these bad people, and returning it to the American people where it belongs. Just think about Comey and his characters. Think about Comey and the gang. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Comey, Brennan, Clapper, we're draining the swamp, folks. And you think it's easy? It's not easy. It's not easy, but we're doing it. We're getting rid of a lot of bad ones. At the heart of America's revival are the massive tax cuts that I signed into law a year ago. And they are like rocket fuel for America's economy. The typical family of four earning $75,000 is now saving more than $2,000 on their income taxes, money they can put toward anything they want to put it, including save it. Many small business owners are here today, and you can now deduct up to 20% of their business income, one of the most significant small business tax cuts in American history. Thank you. It's so good that you see that, because a lot of people, you know, they're all getting these tremendous tax cuts, and a lot of people don't know they're getting them, and sometimes they're taken out by the business. So, you know, they're getting checks, and they notice they're a little bit bigger, but they don't really notice. You people, many of you have your own businesses, and you see the kind of money that you're making, much more money, and you're investing much more money. But it's great that when you see it, you know, you're very entrepreneurial people. Real estate people are. If you're not, you're in deep trouble. If you're not, you don't want to be in this room very long because you won't last. But it's pretty amazing. And the other thing that's amazing is 1 year expensing. How about that? I mean, 1 year expensing, I think, is one of the biggest things. And nobody talks about it really, but it's a tremendous, you write it off in 1 year, and nobody thought would ever see the day when you get that. But it spurs growth, and it's been fantastic. And we've also done something that for this room and for farmers and for ranchers and for, small businesses, fairly big businesses actually, we've virtually eliminated the very unfair estate tax, also known as the death tax. So if you want to leave your real estate company to your child or your children, they like real estate, they have an aptitude, and you love them and they love you, otherwise don't do it. The hell with them. I've seen parents that are so badly treated by their kids, and the parent comes to me, oh, I love my child. And I'm saying to myself, man, that child treats her badly. So I would tell him, your child is not a good child. Don't leave him anything. But for those of you in the room, and I would say that includes probably 90%, I'd say there's 10%, who does not love your child or children? Anybody want to raise your hand? No, I can't believe that guy raised his hand. No, I'm not going to ask your name. I'm not going to get you. But what we have now is you don't have to pay any estate taxes. You know what that is? That's a big deal. Because a lot of times, and it happened with the farmers, where in some cases they're land rich but not income rich, but the farm's been in the family for 150 years and they love it and they do well, and that's what they do, and they love it. They wouldn't want to do anything else. And they'd die and it would be taxed on the value of the land, and all sorts of things happen. Then they go to the banks and they borrow money, and then they have a little downspell and they end up losing the farm, losing the business. You have no tax to pay anymore, and nobody talks about it, but to me that's a big thing. That's a big thing. And thanks to the opportunity zones where Ben Carson's been working so hard, right? Made possible by tax reform, we're making enormous investments in distressed communities. Tremendous. I will tell you this, and Ben, I think you can agree with me. He has to agree. By the way, if he doesn't, he will tell me. I guarantee. He'll stand up and say, sir, I disagree with you. It's amazing the way it's worked out. Do you agree? I had no idea. Tim Scott was very much involved, and we did it. And, I've been hearing about these things for 40 years. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Nothing works. These are tremendously successful in areas where money was never invested. Very, very big, powerful, rich people are spending tremendous amounts of money. They have certain tax advantages, but we've got them to open their wallets, and the jobs that are being created in neighborhoods where people wouldn't go before, the opportunity zones, and it's starting to be seen, and it's starting to be written about. It's a great achievement for Tim Scott. It's a great achievement for Ben Carson. It's really some of the people that the early people, Ben, that worked. Who else would you say, Ben? 4 or 5 people that really were in the forefront. But you two, I say in particular. I'm going to get myself in trouble with the other 3, but I'm not going to bother because you people don't care who the hell they are. But they know they did a good job, right, Ben? They know they did a good job. So we're honored to be joined today by one of the patriots leading the charge on opportunity zone development, a fantastic man, a fantastic football player, by the way. For those of you that remember, he's still young, a longtime member of the association, Bob Turner. Bob, come on up. Let us know. Come on, Bob. Let us have a little information, please. How are you, Bob? Thank you. Have a good time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. What an honor to be here today.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks. Thank you so much for this great economy. When you were elected in Memphis, the cloud lifted off of Memphis and the economy took off. It really did. And the opportunity zones are creating so many opportunities for everybody across this country. And you came to Millington, Tennessee a couple of years ago. About a mile from where you landed, we own 47 acres that are in the Opportunity Zone. We're developing 247 units of apartments, and we're building 71 single-family home lots on this 47 acres. We will create about $40 million of economic development in Millington, Tennessee. Millington has not seen any new developments for over 10 years. No new apartments, very few houses, and it's home of the Naval Air Station, Naval Base, with your fine patriots. And it's going to make a change in that town. We're also developing a large development in Memphis. It's 1,500 apartments, a hotel, and about 35,000 square foot of retail space that will create about $400 million in economic development. It's not in the Opportunity Zone, but it's creating a tremendous amount of jobs in Memphis. Yep.
Great place.
Yep. So as realtors across this country, we've been talking about this all this week, and I've told them they are the catalyst for this Opportunity Zone with Mr. Carson and President Trump. And without it, we would not be able to revitalize these communities that need help. I had the opportunity to come to the White House and represent our realtors in your economic summit for the Opportunity Zone. And I thought it was all about real estate, but it's about workforce. It's about housing. It's about every kind of economic development you can do in these zones. And it's really going to make a difference. As you said, the money's flowing. The day that y'all release those rules, the faucet turned on. There is hundreds of millions of dollars looking for a place to invest in your communities. And this group here, Mr. President, is in the center of it. Our realtors are going to create this situation in every city and town across the country and be the catalyst for building these opportunity zones out to put people to work and put people in homes and revitalize our nation. And we, on behalf of the realtors, we want to thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much.
And I want to say one more thing. Thank you, Mr. President, for making America great again.
Thank you, Bob. Wow, that's from the heart. No notes, no nothing. That's from the heart. And I have to tell you, a man who just, I introduced him, but I'm going to ask him to take a little bit of a stand. Your president, because John, maybe you really wanted Trump. And look how you turned out. Right? Stand up, John, will you please? He wanted Trump. He wanted Trump. Thank you. Thank you, John. Great job, John. So as our economy booms like never before, we're lifting millions of our citizens from welfare to work, dependence to independence, and poverty to prosperity. But as everyone in this business knows, nothing kills economic growth faster than government bureaucrats, regulation. With all that power and not enough common sense, lots of bad things can happen quickly. And that's why we're waging a historic deregulation campaign that especially affects the real estate business. And that's liberating our citizens from bureaucracy and freeing our economy to soar higher than ever. And it can continue to go up. To see the disastrous results of overregulation, you take a look at what's going on in California. Housing costs are among the highest in the country. Development restrictions make it sometimes impossible to build what they do. I mean, years and years of turmoil. I have one job. It's called the Coastal Commission. Oh, they're fun to deal with. If you're really good, you'll have your permits within 20 years or not have them within 20 years. We vote no. Wait a minute. We've been looking at these things for 20 years. We vote no. How about that? How about when you're looking at a permit, you've devoted millions and millions of dollars, and you go into that hearing after years, and you have no idea if they're going to vote yes or no. And oftentimes they vote no. So we're trying to end that. State and local regulations can easily add $200,000 to the price of a single home. And it's no surprise that in California, and I don't want to single them out, but they have a train going up now. You know, this fast train, you heard about this disaster? I mean, you people know how to build on time, on budget, preferably ahead of time and under budget, right? This is a train that's not working out so well. It's a fast train, but not a bullet train, so it's not that fast. And it was going to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And then a thing called cost overruns happened. And many of you know about it. Well, it's in the thing today because I said, we're not paying any more money for it. California's lost control. And it's an incredible thing. It's got to be a straight run. And they build a section, and then they build another section way away, and then another section. And then they want to hook it up. It doesn't work. You can't hook it up. Can't. Doesn't hook. It's a little crooked. The train doesn't go good that way. So they say, let's rip the sucker down. We'll start all over again. This is like a catastrophe. Like hundreds of millions over budget, totally out of control. And we told them we're not going to do it. I mean, we're not going to. It's been under construction forever. So think of this. Think of this. It was going from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Now, the price had to be very, very high. Much more expensive than Southwest Airlines, which goes in 1/3 the time. So I say, wait a minute, what are they doing? You got an airline that goes from San Francisco to Los Angeles, much faster, and it's at less money. So how does this work? And again, it's not that really fast train, it's just a fast train. Meaning it's slow, meaning it's obsolete, right? You know, it's obsolete before, if you're going to do it, you do the bullet train, you do the really fast deal. So it's obsolete before they start. But they had a way of doing it. They were going to show me the governor, nice guy, nice young guy. Talking about forests. Clean up your forests. You won't have forest fires. Clean them up. He blames it on global warming. I said, no, try cleaning the floor of the forest a little bit so you don't have 4 feet of leaves and broken trees that have sit there for 25 years. Try cleaning the floor of the forest. You won't have forest fire. And I got killed for that. It's called forest management. I got killed for that. And then about 3 weeks later, they announced I was right. Because I was out there last year, and what I saw was so horrific with some of the fires. So many people killed. The fire was, you talk about bullets, the fire was like a bullet. So on the train, they have a solution. The solution was, we'll make it shorter. So instead of going from San Francisco to Los Angeles, beautiful, right in the middle, they cut all of that out. They cut all, and now you go from this tiny little town to another tiny little town for billions of dollars. And they think they can do it for just billions of dollars more than the original projection. These people are crazy. So I told the great Elaine Chao, Secretary of Transportation, doing a fantastic job. I said, Elaine, it's over for them. This has been going on for many years, long before I got there. I would have told them, I would have said, listen, if an airplane's much faster, what are we doing? No, what are we doing? And I also would have done the super modern thing, and we would have had it built on time, and we would have had it built on budget, and it just didn't work out that way. It's a mess, and we're not paying any more money into that one. That's a disaster if you've ever seen it. Make it shorter. How do you like that, John? Is that a good idea? cut the big cities out, a little too much, too expensive. Let's make it like real short. You have 3 people on it a day. So we're reversing years of calamitous trade policies that gutted the American middle class. Nearly 2 decades ago, politicians in Washington placed China into the WTO, the World Trade Organization, one of the great catastrophes in the history of our country as far as trade is concerned.